another chain. You know I got vices. South side with my queen, whip clean, spread my wings. But they ain't gon' like it. When Tide signed with the Vikings, the price on the bundle was spiking. Covered and strapped, I'm guided. That's not a...
All right, you guys, this is Raw Detroit. I'm back in the building. So we got a good one for you on today. We're going to talk about the plan of Brad Holmes, because now we kind of got to, after a few seasons of Brad Holmes drafting and things of that nature, we kind of understand what Brad is doing, and we kind of understand now his philosophy. And pretty much this is the philosophy of Brad Holmes and his tenure with the Detroit Lions, which, don't get me wrong, I definitely think that Brad Holmes has done a phenomenal job with the Detroit Lions. He has been the GM that has changed the culture in Detroit, and we appreciate him for that. Number one thing is, what we've been wanting is another edge in Detroit. We did get an edge in the draft, but we got him in the 6th round, so we know he's more likely when you get a guy in the 6th round. He's like a developmental guy, but you never know. This guy may work his way, just like Malcolm Rodriguez did, work his way into playing on the football field. But at the same time, you got to recognize this. When you're going into the draft, you should be going out and getting dogs, guys that's going to help your team, propel your team to get to the next level. Howie Roseman understands that and knows that as a GM, that you have to beef that defensive line up, because that was the blueprint to beating Patrick Mahomes. The blueprint was rush 4 guys and drop everybody back in coverage, so everybody is covered and Patrick Mahomes can't kill you down the field. And now with the Lions, pretty much the Lions had a solid draft, and we won't really know how good these players are until they play on Sunday. But the biggest thing is that now we understand fully the totality of Brad Holmes' plan. In free agency, he's never going to go out to a big name. He's not going to do that. He's not done it in his tenure, and he's not going to do that. He's not going to spend a lot of money in free agency. So going forth, you already understand that Brad Holmes is not going to spend a lot of money in free agency. You have to really chalk that up, and you got to really understand that Brad Holmes is not going to be a big spender when it comes to free agency. Brad Holmes' philosophy of bringing back injury-prone players, that has been his history, and he continues to do that. Now, he brought back Marcus Davenport, which I figured maybe he can go out to somebody else. There was so many defensive edges that could help us, get to the quarterback. I mean, you got guys that's still out there like Matt Judon, you also could bring back Zadarius Smith, whoever. Somebody that's going to give Hutch some help. That's all we were asking for. We wasn't asking for going out to get an elite pass rusher, because I know Brad was trolling the fans and saying, oh, yeah, you guys, we have an elite pass rusher. How many pass rushers in the league are elite? Well, Brad, how many teams in the league got a tandem? It's a lot of teams in the league that have a tandem. Now the Giants have a tandem. They got Carter and they got Kayvon Thibodeau. So you kind of understand what I'm saying. That doesn't mean that, okay, just because they got Carter is going to be this elite guy, even though he got picked in the first round. I think Carter went number 3, something like that, number 3 or 4, something along that nature. But you get my drift, and you get my point, is that we were just looking to get somebody that's competent and somebody that can produce at the position to help us out. We wasn't looking for an elite guy. So we kind of understand your plan is that you're never going to go out there what the fans are screaming for and saying that they want, because you would never wait that late to draft someone, especially when you know that that's the position of need. I know that Brad likes to do the BPA thing, and that's fine. Nothing is wrong with that, getting the best player available. But at the same time, this team is pretty much ready to try to compete for a Super Bowl title. And the only thing that I think that's holding the Detroit Lions back is the edge position, being able to get to the quarterback. Now, yes, I understand that Hutch is working out and he's trying to come back and be full strength and things of that nature for the Lions as the season go on. But at the same time, you got to understand, fans, that Hutch has to learn how to trust his body again. He has to learn how to trust his body, because when you get back out there initially, you're going to be thinking about the last time you broke your leg. You're going to be thinking about what happened. So once he gets over the mental part of it, I think Hutch will be fine. It's not just him just working out and stuff like that. It's the mental part of football that he has to be able to restore in his mind, that he's capable of being the same player he was before he left. And I've always said that Aiden Hutchinson, this team, need to be built around Aiden Hutchinson. You go into the draft, you draft 4 offensive players, and when this draft was a defensive heavy draft, you could have made sure that you doubled up on edges in this draft, because we know how important that position is. We're banking on Marcus Davenport to being healthy throughout the whole entire season. We re-signed him back. We let go. I don't know how smart we are, but we let go a healthy Zadarius Smith. I don't know if Zadarius is going to come back, because it's still time for the Lions to address this area, because the season hasn't started yet. So the Lions could address the area still. Not saying that Brad is not going to address it, but he could address it. But you took 4 offensive guys in a heavy defensive draft. I understand that we need a guard, because we got to think about the future. I don't have a problem with that. I understand that you took a defensive tackle, which we needed. I don't got a problem with that. Now, where you took him at, I got a kind of problem with that, taking him as the first pick, the 28th pick in the first round. I do got a problem with that, because I felt like you could have went after. There was so many defensive tackles in this draft where you could have found the guy. You didn't have to necessarily draft Tyreek Williams 28th overall, but you decided to do that. So we're going to see how Tyreek Williams work. We know that he's going to give an opportunity to probably start and play some big snaps for the Detroit Lions. But the main thing is that this season we got a chance to see the plan of Brad Holmes, and pretty much that plan is going to be never to really go after big names in the free agent market, not spend a lot of money, because you already know that you got a lot of guys that you're going to have to pay for. You're going to have to pay for the Sam Laportas. You're going to have to pay for J-Mo. You're going to have to pay for Brian Branch. You're going to have to pay for Jahmyr Gibbs. Don't have to pay for Montgomery, because Montgomery just signed a 2-year deal to continue to be with the team. But you're going to have to give a boatload of money to Gibbs and a boatload of money to Aiden Hutchinson as well. So, and that's fine. That is fine. I understand but somebody's going to probably be the odd man out. I don't know if it's going to be Sam Laporta. I don't know if it's going to be J-Mo, Brian Branch. I don't know. But he's going to have to make a decision on who's going to be the odd man out, because you're not going to be able to afford Sam Laporta and give him the type of money that the other tight ends just got. Guys like Kittle. That's a lot of money for a tight end. So you're not probably going to be able to do that. So, and then if J-Mo balls out and he goes over 1,300 yards and maybe grabs maybe 9, 10 touchdowns, and he has 70 catches on the season, you're going to have to pay J-Mo, and wide receivers are expensive. They are expensive. So you can end up losing any one of those guys. So, I don't got a problem with the Tesla pickup, the wide receiver that runs a 4.3, 4.4. I don't got a problem with that. He's good at blocking and things of that nature. The only thing that I have a problem with is that you gave up 2 future third-round picks. That's the only thing that I had a problem with Brad with, that he gave up 2. So this dude, Tesla, better be the real deal, because you gave up 2 future third-round picks in order to come up and trade for this guy and get this guy. So he better be special, because you picked him as being that dude and that receiver that's your favorite in the draft. So we understand now from this point out that a Brad Holmes draft is not the pieces that the fans think that he's going to go out and get. He's not going to go out and get the Mike Greens and the Mikael Williams and guys that we thought that the Lions had a chance to go and grab at the edge position to help form a tandem with Aiden Hutchinson. He's not going to do that. He's going to grab guys in later rounds and hope that they pan out and work. So we'll see what happens, man. Definitely, I'm definitely hoping that Brad hits on this draft. We won't know, but most of these guys in this draft were offensive guys, you know, besides the three other guys that was defensive guys. But we'll see how Brad plan, how his plan is going to work out. And if his plan works out well, then he's a genius. If it doesn't really go good and this draft is not as good, then you won't know you won't know how good these guys is until the next 2 or 3 years. But hopefully everybody works out. Hopefully the linemen that we drafted, these guys will come in and they'll be the replacement for other guys that'll be either moving on or retiring, whatever they decide to do with their career. But we understand, man, that Brad has a plan, and we hope that this plan totally works. All right, you guys, I'm out of here. Until next time. Peace.
You know I got vices. South side with my queen, whip clean, spread my wings. But they ain't gon' like it. When Tide signed with the Vikings, the price on the bundle was spiking. Covered and strapped.